All right. Well, hello, Rama. Thank you for joining us. So, our first question is just going to be tell us about yourself. So, a little bit your major, the year you graduated, where you transferred from, and then what you're currently working doing.
Okay, yes. So major was biochem cell bio, if they still have that. I know they always change it every year. Um, Graduated in 2015 and transferred from Miracosta Community College, which is local to San Diego.
And then yeah, so then what are you currently doing right now? Too?
Currently doing is I'm actually in a career change. So I was in biotech and research in biotech, and now I've kind of transitioned over to the software side. So making that transition now. Yeah.
Nice. And then our next question was asking about how was your transfer experience here at UCSD?
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know what else to say. It was yeah, some of the best 2 years. Unfortunately, only 2 years of my life. Yeah, if you want me to go into more detail, yeah, but that's in short what I thought about it.
Oh, yeah. And so this next one is what skills from community college and UCSD combined, both that you learned both inside and outside of the classroom, would you say is applicable in your current work, and you can either apply that towards what you did before or what you're trying to get into currently?
Yeah, I think the biggest skill that I learned from community college and applied at UCSD was asking questions. So I was in community college for 4 years. The first 2 years, just to be honest, I wasn't really incentivized academically. So last 2 years, I really got the bug to like do good in school. And one of the things that helped me out in that process was asking questions. So um, not thinking that I'm the only one thinking that question or thinking that it's a dumb question, getting used to just asking the question to the class. And what was surprising was when I got to UCSD, my genetics class was like 700 students, and yeah, I felt comfortable asking questions in that class, and that helped me out a lot, I think. And I got close to the professor, and so that's a skill that was useful in university, but then of course translates really well to work. Wherever you work, everyone's going to tell you communication is key, and that's part of communicating.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, genetics was my first class I took, so I definitely very relatable. We wanted to ask you from the transfer lens, what were like some of the hardships that you experienced in like all aspects of your journey?
Hardships, yeah. You know, I felt like a lot of the hardship was just maybe even went through during community college, which was like just learning and like growing up mentally. Um, UCSD was more of a challenge in terms of studying, so everything academically and even the extracurricular stuff like going to lab, doing research. Um, yeah, it was tough, but there was nothing that kind of broke me down in a way. Yeah, I felt pretty. Luckily, I had a good support group at UCSD, so I had a lot of close friends and roommates. So fortunately, I think on my end, yeah, if you make friends and find support groups, you can try and move away from hardships. And I don't want to downplay anybody who's had a hard time. I think for me, I got pretty lucky in that case.
You're not the only one. I feel like there's definitely success stories and also
Hardship.
more roughed out stories, but it's always good to hear every perspective. All right, so the next one is what would you if you had any pieces of advice to give to either recently graduated or about to graduate transfer students looking for jobs in their fields of study, what would you say to them?
Yeah, network. I think it sucks to say, but you could have really good grades and a really good resume coming out, but networking is always critical. So going out to networking events, reaching out to alumni, seeing who they might know, that's number one advice.
Yeah, thank you for that. And to our final question for you is, what made you want to like reconnect with UCSD, or how did you find ways to connect with like current alumni if you do?
Yeah. So what drives me to connect to UCSD and students?
Yes.
Um, yeah, I think because I had such a good time at UCSD, I made a lot of good friends, like lifelong friends. My roommates, we still hang out. We went camping last week, and they're all across the United States. Most of them are doctors now, actually, so that's cool for them. And um, yeah, I feel maybe it's community college that prepared me well mentally. So I really got to enjoy as much as I could at UCSD, and that includes academically, like working in a lab, but actually like one of the main highlights was studying abroad in Taiwan. So I studied abroad for a summer, and also had an amazing time. And that was an opportunity that I only got to get at UCSD, I feel like. Um, and so yeah, I try to connect with alumni. I definitely talk to students here and there. When I speak to students currently enrolled at UCSD, I try and help them out with like internships and everything. And so yeah, it's a real pleasure, and I'm definitely biased in terms of helping out the transfer students. Well, I don't know, I'm not biased to just for them. It's just that yeah, I think there's a sweet spot in terms of their background and how they got to be where they are today.
Yeah, that was great. So our finals just kind of like this is your chance to kind of say what you want to say. But if you had any piece of advice or anything you would want to say to transfer students or anything that you would like want to hear in your position or any closing remarks you want to have, now's your time.
Yeah, some advice to transfer students. I think because your time is short at UCSD, you really have to make the most of it, and don't think you're at a disadvantage because you're a transfer student. Make the most of it immediately. And so if you're a bio major, like in my case, or maybe any other major as well, get an internship as quickly as possible, like in a lab if you're in a STEM major. Um, and look at other resources like studying abroad. Um, it's those 2 years go by really quickly. They go by real fast, and um, yeah, there's a lot you can do. It's just a matter of just knowing what you can do and then finding the time to do them.
Righty. Well, yeah, a round of
That
applause.
was great.
That was
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Really appreciate the responses. Very, it's really nice to hear too, and like hearing just the other aspect of like how great like your experience was here is like heartwarming because I think a lot of people do relate to that. Um, so I really appreciate all the responses.
Yeah, no. So we'll go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and stop.
Yeah, let's stop the recording.
Stop.